If we are concerned about the future of ColdFusion and to see Adobe's commitment, I would strongly suggest you to drop by Adobe office and see the number of people who are working on the product and how enthusiastic the developers are.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Kishore Balakrishnan from Adobe, and we're going to be talking about CF Summit India 2019 and all the new details on that, revealing some information that hasn't been out there publicly yet about the speakers and topics, and some other cool news about the event. So welcome, Kishore.
Thanks, Michaela. It's always good to be back talking to you about ColdFusion.
Yeah, and we have lots of fans of the podcast in India. There are thousands of developers in ColdFusion in India. It's a very big place. And of course, Adobe itself has its development headquarters for ColdFusion in Bangalore in India. We'll talk more about that later. But perhaps before we get going about what's happening in CF Summit India, we should tell people who you are. So you're the principal product marketing manager for ColdFusion at Adobe. And you're not just a marketing guy. You actually studied computer science when you were slightly younger than you are now. And
yes, I did my master's in computers as well.
Yeah, and you're the voice of the ColdFusion customer in Adobe. So when people have things they want to hear about in ColdFusion 2020 or 2022, they should let you know so you can pass it on and clearly get the team working on what people want.
Yes,
and,
they have a couple of other avenues as well. They could also reach out to Alicia or Rakshit.
Yes.
So we are a team, and we make sure that any concerns or anything that the customer wants gets addressed.
And your bio says you love long runs and cooking. Do you do that at the same time? You have like a pan in your hand, flipping the food as you run through
I would love to do that. Try that once.
Okay. So I think we should answer the question, what is CF Summit India? Because I know some people have heard of CF Summit, West in Las Vegas. But what is CF Summit India?
So we have been having CF Summits in US over the last 7 years. And actually this one was the 8th year that we had CF Summit in Vegas. And unfortunately, not many people would be. It's a long travel from here to US. It takes roughly around 26 hours to travel from India to US. And the cost most of the people said it doesn't justify the cost and the time it takes to travel from here to there for an event. And we have been hearing this feedback, and there are a lot of offshore development houses in India, and there are a lot of new companies which are adopting ColdFusion in India. So last year, we had the ColdFusion Summit in India, and we were pleasantly surprised at the turnout. We had close to around 173 companies which were represented at in India.
And is it just for people in India, or is it anyone in Asia? Or?
Anyone in Asia. So we had people who had traveled from Malaysia, who had traveled from Singapore, and who had traveled from Bangkok as Thailand as well. So high time, Michaela, maybe you also should book your tickets.
There you go. Yeah, I'm currently in Thailand, here for some conferences, and also it's just slightly sunnier and warmer than it is in the US right now. So just slightly. I gave up on winter a few years ago, to be honest. I haven't experienced a winter for 10 years now. So I just go from summer to summer.
Oh, okay.
So that's great. It's convenient for anyone in the whole region to come to. So how long has CF Summit India been running?
This is the second year that we are having it, Michaela.
All right. So how many? You said you had 210 people last year. How many do you think you're going to have this year?
We are definitely targeting more than 250.
Wow.
So, because we still have a month to go for the event, and actually, we still have exactly a month to go for the event. It's going to be on December 7th, and we currently have around 200 registrations.
Wow. Well,
So
you're going to
the last month
definitely going.
after registrations, you know about that.
Yeah, lots of last
CF
minute.
United successfully so long. So the last month, you actually double the number of registrations. So we are hoping to get, and just keeping your fingers crossed that we get around 300 people, but we should be good.
All right. So it seems like Adobe's been expanding where you're doing ColdFusion conferences. You started off just doing Vegas and you moved to Washington, D.C. as well as Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year you started CF Summit India, which did really well. Do you have other, plans for Europe or?
I think 2 weeks back we were at CF camp in Munich, and we spoke to Mishi, who runs an amazing conference there. And we had asked him if we could have an expanded presence of Adobe at CF camp. So starting next year, I think you will have the ColdFusion certification along with CF camp as well. The day before CF camp, we'll have the ColdFusion certification, and maybe some more sessions around Adobe ColdFusion. And it's primarily a ColdFusion conference, so you have a lot of ColdFusion sessions as well over there.
That's great that you're doing that, and 2 thumbs up for doing the certification there. I saw the certification classes in Las Vegas. They were packed. A lot of people were excited to get that, both for their career prospects, but also I heard people say they just learned stuff, in ColdFusion 2018 they didn't know was there. So, and there were like, I forget how many hours, 23 hours of video training and all kinds of help from Adobe staff while you're taking the training. So great opportunity there. Now, those are all ColdFusion Pacific conferences, but I remember last year you and Alicia were at DevWeek, and I think you went to some other conference as well.
So we wanted to spread the awareness around ColdFusion. We knew that we had done a okay job running the ColdFusion summits and CF going to all the ColdFusion conferences, like Into the Box, like CF Camp, and things like that, where we knew most of the guys. What we wanted to do was we wanted to expand the awareness around ColdFusion. Last year we went to Developer Week, which is one of the largest developer conferences in North America. They had around 20,000 people at the event, and we had one session as well as a booth at the event. And from an awareness perspective, we were able to talk to a lot of developers over there who either had used ColdFusion before, and we were able to explain to them about the new features around ColdFusion, or completely new customers, developers who didn't know about ColdFusion. And when we told them how easy it is to do certain stuff in ColdFusion, they were clearly impressed, and they said they'll go back and give it a shot. And we were also able to make some key decision makers at Developer Week. So that was one of the conferences which really worked well. And also, there's this conference of National Association of Government Web Developers. It's called NAGW. They had a conference in Salt Lake City in September. So Alicia attended the event along with our partners, and once again we had a booth, and we were the platinum sponsors of that event. And that also went well because there it's specifically targeted towards web developers. And we had very interesting conversation about ColdFusion. And the one thing which we realized was it's good to go to these conferences, one from an awareness perspective, two, we were able to if there are any concerns about the future of the product, we were able to have a 1:1 discussion with the customers then and there.
That is great. So any plans to go to any other events next year to spread the good word about ColdFusion and the new release CF 2020?
Yes, so we are going to go to Developer Week. That's going to happen in February in Oakland. So we will be there again. If there's any other conferences which the ColdFusion community thinks that we need to be seen at, please drop in a mail to me or to Alicia. We are firming up our plans for next year. So if you feel that we need to be there in any of those conferences, we would be there.
Great. Well, I'll put your email in the show notes at terratech.com, but it's basically kishore@adobe.com. So listeners, you heard this here from Kishore. If you know some good conferences Adobe should be telling people about ColdFusion at, maybe where there's other developers or CIOs or other IT leadership, let them know straight away, because I know you're making budget decisions next month. So,
yes.
Can certainly help us out. And I'm very excited that Adobe has started going to other conferences. That was an idea that came up in the CF Alive book I put out, and it's great to see you improving the situation for ColdFusion, making it more alive. So let's look at CF Summit India. Why is it so important for the CF community to have this conference?
As I told you before, it's primarily targeted towards ColdFusion developers in India and obviously in this region. And it's a great venue as well. The CF Summit India is going to happen out of the Adobe office in Bangalore. And this is one place where they could come and see the entire team, the entire engineering, support, marketing, the sales team, inside sales team. All of us are going to be here. So if we are concerned about the future of ColdFusion and to see Adobe's commitment, I would strongly suggest you to drop by Adobe office and see the number of people who are working on the product and how enthusiastic the developers are. And most of the sessions are taken by the developers themselves. So if you look at, we are going to publish the schedule by tomorrow. So if you look at the schedule, you will know that the feature owners are going to be presenting on the topics. So if you look at scheduler, or if you look at scheduler, the feature owner is going to present on it. And if you look at any other topic, it's primarily the feature owners who will be talking about it. So who else than them to give you in-depth. If you have any queries, these are the guys who could even tell you what is happening. And if you feel that something should be implemented some other way, these are the guys whom you should be talking to.
That's great. So a really unique opportunity to talk to the engineering team behind ColdFusion, hear them speak about the futures in the current version, maybe a sneak peek into what's coming in future versions.
Yes.
Also, I think, it's great to network with other ColdFusion developers in India and Asia.
Definitely.
And I think from a management perspective, just hearing the roadmap you have for ColdFusion, Adobe has a corporate commitment to ColdFusion through at least 2028 already announced. So, and, not only do we have the next version, CF 2020, but I know you've got plans in the works for CF 2022. Going on as well. So
yes. So Rakshad will be talking about what's going to be coming out in 2020 and 2021, and you never know, he might give you a sneak peek into how it'll look. And he always has a lot of code demos that he walks through during his presentation. So the engineering team has been working on it, and you never know, there might be some new features which we have not seen at CF Summit in Vegas.
Yes. I'm sure there will be things we learn about at CF Summit India that weren't in Las Vegas. So lots of reasons to come. So I think the moment has come to reveal who those speakers are and what the topics are, because that's not even on the website yet. I think you said it's coming out tomorrow or the day after. So
so as I told you, the feature owners are going to talk about the features themselves. So we have features around, the security analyzer topics around the security analyzer, which has been taken by Edwin, who's the developer who's working on the security analyzer. We have the scheduled task talk, which is being done by Suchika, and she has been involved with that particular piece of code for quite some time. And Suchika is someone who has already spoken about scheduled tasks and stuff like that at CF Summit. I think this is the fourth time she's going to be speaking at CF Summit. And Piyush, who will be talking about the performance-related topics, and Nimit and Dubey will be talking about the performance monitoring toolkit that we came out in 2018. These are the actual developers who had worked on the feature. Ashudeep has worked on a lot of language enhancements in 2018, and we also made a lot of language enhancements in the recent updates. So he's going to be talking about those features. And Ajay is going to be talking about document management and anything related to PDF, Excel, or any operations. He's your guy to talk to. And Ketki will be talking about the different UI frameworks that are available.
Wow, cool. Now, I noticed in that list, Ashudeep's talking about what you call U5. I wasn't quite clear what that was.
It's called Update 5, which got recently released. So Update 5 not only had security and bug fixes, but it had a lot of language enhancements as well. So he'll be talking about those as well. This just goes to show that the updates not necessarily includes only the security or the bug fixes, but we are trying to pull in language enhancements as and when needed as well.
Fabulous. And I think we left two speakers off that. Rakshit is going to be talking about ColdFusion 2020 features. And I saw part of his talk in Las Vegas, and it was an amazing demo of some really cool stuff coming out with multi-cloud and container support and all kinds of language features. So, please don't miss that if you're attending CF Summit India. And then I think Ashish Garg is speaking too. Is that right?
Yes, Ashish Garg will be taking the keynote session.
Yeah,
Ashish Garg, the Director of Engineering for ColdFusion and e-learning products at Adobe. And he's a techie himself. So he has worked on JRUN. So he started off with JRUN at Macromedia. So he knows the server-side stuff quite well.
Yeah, I've interviewed him quite a lot for an upcoming book and also for the podcast. And he is definitely a tech genius.
Yes.
And he's got a lot of exciting things. He gave him a keynote in Las Vegas, and I'm sure he'll be giving that and even more news at this keynote on CF 2020 and all the amazing things you can do with it and how it makes ColdFusion developers' careers even more valuable with the move to the cloud. So you mentioned it's December 7th. What is it? What time does it run? And tell us anything more about the
it's
event.
on a Saturday, so it starts from 8 o'clock in the morning. It runs till 4:30 in the evening. The sessions.
So people don't have to lose time from work to do this. If they're busy developing for customers Monday through Friday, they can.
Yes, so Saturday will be a good time for them to come and learn about. It's learning time.
Yeah. And it's 8 a.m. to 4:30, I think?
Yes.
And then I heard that you might have some kind of special event in the evening? Or?
We are planning that, so that's going to be a surprise.
Oh, we didn't no one tell anything about this. And then what about food? Do people get breakfast and lunch? Or?
Yes, they do get breakfast and lunch and snacks in between. So everything will be taken care by Adobe.
Oh, wow. Now, that sounds like amazing. You're providing a whole day of ColdFusion training right from the horse's mouth of the ColdFusion team. You're providing food. You've got the location. It sounds like this is a really expensive event. How much do people have to pay to attend?
Well, around $1,000 per person. How does it sound?
That sounds like a deal.
No, the event is complimentary, Michaela.
It's completely free.
Completely
So there's
free.
no reason for people not to attend who are
Yes.
able to travel there. And where exactly is the event happening?
The event is happening out of Adobe office in Bangalore. So we are based out of the Outer Ring Road, which is supposed to be the technical hub. All the IT offices are in this road. So it's happening.
So they just go past Microsoft and Google, and then there's Adobe.
Exactly. If you come one way, you exactly pass through Microsoft and Google, then you hit Adobe.
All right. Or where all the big tech players are in
Yes.
India. And this is the same location as last year. Now, Bangalore is the tech capital of India. Is that right? I haven't been there yet.
Yes, it is the tech capital of India. It's called the Silicon Valley of India. So
the Silicon Valley of India, and it's in the south of India where all the spicy food is. Is that yes? All right. Lots of easy flights to get to Bangalore or Bangalore. What is it? Is it called Bangalore or Bangalore? I'm not always confused.
It's called as Bengaluru.
Bangalore. Yeah. Okay. And is it easy to fly to? Or?
Oh, it is easy to fly to. From anywhere, you have direct flights connecting to Bangalore.
Yeah, I know. I found a direct flight from Taiwan, not Taiwan, Thailand, but I think all over India it's easy to get to from, and a lot of Asia it's easy to get to from. So, and then what about the ColdFusion certification? Is there going to be any testing on that at the conference? Or?
So we couldn't launch it this year at India, but next year, in the mid of next year, we might launch the certification program in India.
That would be great because I saw the certification classes in Vegas and they were packed. You know, they just, I think they had to get 3 rooms to fill it. Originally it was going to be 1 room and they had to hire extra instructors. And it was a great course. It was like 23 hours of video training. It was online help.
And online. And you have 1 day face-to-face training as well. Yeah. After which you're supposed to take the test. Yeah.
And it wasn't just, you know, it was interactive. You know, you could ask questions, or if you were stuck, you could get help. So, and I spoke to some people who did that, and they, you know, some of them kind of took it for career purposes, thinking they wouldn't learn anything, but they actually ended up learning a lot of new things about CF 2018, I mean.
Yes.
Sorry, I've got CF 2020 on the brain because I've been writing about it. No, they learned a lot of new things about ColdFusion they didn't know, because there's so many features in each release. It's hard to keep up with all the stuff that you could be using in your apps. So people who are new to Bangalore, is there anything else to do there other than see the Adobe Office and all the new ColdFusion features?
And Bangalore is also called the Garden City. So we have a lot of parks in and around Bangalore, which you could look at. I'm not talking about the IT parks. There are actually parks around
real parks
as well. So you could look at that. And there are a lot of historic buildings in and around Bangalore as well, which you could look at.
Yeah, because it's the capital of the state of, I'm going to probably mangle the name here, but Karnataka.
Yeah. And if you want to let your hair down in the evening, there are a lot of amazing pubs in India as well, in Bangalore as well.
And also incredibly spicy food because it's the south of India. So
definitely. That's true for across India. So you get a lot of spicy food. But
I've heard that the south of India is the spiciest of all the Indian areas. So just be warned, those visiting from the north of India, you might have your taste buds tickled. So anything new this year in CF Summit India?
No. So we are going to talk a lot about CF 2020 and the enhancements that we did in 2018. And as I told you, the entire team is going to be here. So if you want to have one-on-one conversation with any particular regarding any particular feature or anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and we will set you up with the corresponding decision makers or the corresponding team members who worked on the feature, so that they could walk you through and let you know what exactly, why exactly they did what they did. And if you have any enhancement requests, that's a place you could directly talk to the decision makers and tell them what you feel.
Well, we'll put the link for registration in the CF Live podcast show notes on the TerraTech site. I'll just give out that URL. It's a bit long. That's why I'm going to put it on the show notes thing. It's cfsummitindia.attendees.com. And that's where folks can register. And is there anything else about CF Summit India we should tell people?
No, this is a good place to come and see what are the other ColdFusion developers in your area are doing. And it's not only talking to us, but talking to your fellow developers as well. So last time, last CF Summit, we had people who stayed back till around 7 o'clock in the evening talking about ColdFusion. The event got over.
Can't stop them.
They just went on, and we let them be, because developers, that's what we do.
Yeah, love talking about ColdFusion, all the new cool things, what you can do with it. So the questions I ask all my guests. First of all, why are you proud to be involved with ColdFusion? Because you've been involved with it for nearly a decade, I think.
Nearly a decade, but as I told you before, I started using ColdFusion a long time back when I was in college. So I think 2000 was the time when I started using ColdFusion.
I think you're coming up for your 10-year anniversary. We should get you a cake.
Oh, please, yes. So I have been with Adobe for more than 13 years, and with the ColdFusion team, I've been working with the ColdFusion team for roughly around 7 years right now. So yes.
Now, as you know, I run. Great. So, as you know, I do the ColdFusion Alive podcast. I wrote a book on it. I really want ColdFusion to be seen as more alive, because under the hood, ColdFusion is alive. And when you look at what people are doing with it, it's very alive. But sometimes it has the perception that it's not alive. And my question to you, as we draw to the end of the decade, because nearly the end of the teens, I guess, is what we call this decade. What would it take to make ColdFusion even more alive in 2020?
I think all we need to do is talk about the amazing things that you guys are doing with ColdFusion, the developers are doing at ColdFusion. It's not necessary, it's not enough that only the Adobe talks about ColdFusion. It'll be great if the community gets behind it and starts talking about the amazing stuff that is being built with ColdFusion. A lot of times we had seen a lot of times that banks are using ColdFusion, or most of the financial institutions are using ColdFusion. Government is using ColdFusion. And you were at CF Summit, I think 2018, when NASA said how they're using ColdFusion. So it'll be great if people start talking about the amazingly cool stuff that is being developed using ColdFusion. And believe me, it's the 25th year next year. And it'll be great if the developers could let us know what are the sort of applications that they have built using ColdFusion.
That would be fabulous. Maybe some kind of special celebration, silver anniversary of ColdFusion's birth.
We are planning on some things that you will see throughout next year. And
yes, you could tell us, but then you'd have to have us all eliminated.
We will let you know. Next, I think we will let you know what our plans are.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention, I know a lot of organizations use ColdFusion because it is the most secure app development ecosystem out there if you set it up right. So, it's good. And it also performs really fast, particularly the newer versions. So,
it's the productivity, security, and performance that still holds ColdFusion in all these organizations.
Yeah. Fabulous. So for you personally, what are you looking forward to at CF Summit India 2019?
looking forward to meeting a lot of ColdFusion developers, and over the past, I think, 7 or 8 years, become really close to some of the developers as well. So it's more like a family reunion right now.
Great. Well, thanks for telling us all about the event. If people want to reach you online, what are the best ways to do that, Kishore?
Either drop me a mail, it's kishore@adobe.com, or LinkedIn, or Twitter, or Facebook. So I'm available on all three platforms. So whatever it is, you could always reach out to me on all these three platforms.
All right. Well, we'll put your URLs for those platforms in the show notes, along with your email. And thanks so much for telling us about CF Summit India. I'll look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks, Michaela, for having me over here.